Arts in Depth is brought to you in part by Riverside Theater, Vero's professional theater at Riverside Park. Call the box office at 772-231-6990 or visit riversidetheater.com.
Arts in Depth, a 1/2 hour televised program presented to you by the Cultural Council of Indian River County. I am Barbara Hoffman, its Executive Director of the Cultural Council and your host for Arts in Depth. Thank you for watching. In our beleaguered world, people are feeling fear and anxiety, dealing with stress, seeking a deeper, healthier spiritual life, desiring personal spiritual support, supporting holistic health, and the list goes on. The Center for Spiritual Care, an oasis of calm and tranquility, is a place where people come to reflect and sometimes find themselves amidst a community of like-minded, searching people. My guest today is Carol Ludwig, co-founder, executive director, and spiritual director of the Center for Spiritual Care. And I want to welcome you, Carol.
Thank you, Barbara.
The Center for Spiritual Care is a nonprofit center founded 16 years ago. Would you please tell us about the vision and the creation of the center and its mission?
Sure, I'd be happy to. We started thinking about the center back in the 90s, and there was a group of women who began meeting together. Each of us had some advanced degrees or experience, and we thought maybe we had some gifts to offer the community. So we went around different places and said, well, could we do this here or here or wherever? And people looked at us like we were crazy, and they said, you want to do what? We said, well, we want to do, offer people, individual and small group spiritual enrichment experiences. And they said, well, like, what would that be? So we'd give them examples, and they just didn't get it. So eventually, the site where we are now became available, and we just said, well, let's just do it then. So we started in October of 2000, having no idea if we'd still be open in January. And lo and behold, we were. Since that time, the vision has really unfolded, and it's become a much bigger thing than any of us ever imagined. Right now, our main mission is to integrate body, mind, spirit, and creativity, which means that as human beings, these are all elements of who we are, and when we neglect any one of them, we're possibly doing damage to the person. And we're most interested in the person and a relationship with the people who come to the center and their relationships with each other, so that to be a kind of haven of calm and quiet in the middle of a crazy world, where people can just be who they are, be accepted for who they are, not have to be something else or not have to defend themselves or explain themselves, but just share who they are, share their story of their life with one another. And it's amazing how freeing that is for people, to just not have to take sides or be this or not be that or whatever. So that's sort of how it's all evolved.
How do people find out about the center?
Well, originally it was mainly word of mouth. Somebody would come to a multi-week workshop or something, or have a good experience, and they would tell a friend. We work with a lot of people in transitions, illness, loss, death, loss of job, retirement. So that's not kind of the thing that people would go out and say, hey, you had a great experience, I'm really in trouble. But people do spread the word when they hear, they have a friend who's in need of something. And so that's how it's worked. Now, much more our art exhibits are bringing in a much wider portion of the community.
How interesting to be integrating art.
Yeah.
And you and I have spoken about art and health and how important it is. I'll be back in just a moment after a short break.
Attention! This is an important message for anyone who had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to their heart or lungs. Did your IVC filter move, break, or cause organ damage? The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, or even death. Call Jacoby and Myers today. You may be entitled to compensation. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled.
Please call 800-378-0160.
And I'm back with Carol Ludwig, who is a co-founder and executive director of the Center for Spiritual Care. The primary focus areas of the center include spiritual nurturing and psychological development, but the center also features other areas such as bodywork, arts and creativity, lecture programs, lending libraries, meditation garden, and program rooms. Will you tell us about these areas and those programs? That's a big offering.
It is. It really is, and I'd love to tell you about it. I find that the spirit, if you will, spirituality, or what some people refer to even as religion, without the structures and the rules, is very, very closely connected to psychology, so that anything that we do in spirituality or psychology contains elements of both of those. Mm-hmm. So we might be looking at personality theory, or we might be looking at forgiveness, or we might be looking at how the body connects to our spirit or our emotional well-being. So all of these things come together and merge. You mentioned we have body work there, we have Reiki, and we have reflexology, we have a fellow who does craniopathy, we have individual spiritual counseling. We have a great bank of referrals for psychological counseling. We have so many different aspects. And we have about now, Barbara, I'm thinking about 15 ongoing weekly groups that meet there. So another aspect of the center is when somebody shows up and has all of the qualifications they need to do what they're doing, and is looking for a space to hold an activity on a regular basis, then we, after a meeting with the board and talking about it, might open the doors and say, sure, why don't you meet here? That happened for particularly the men's prostate cancer support group a few years ago, when they lost their sight, and they came and said, could we meet here? And I said, sure, of course you can. Why would we not want to provide a haven for guys who are recovering from prostate cancer? Or the Buddhists. There are two different Buddhist groups here in town who didn't have places to meet and came and said, you know, could we meet there? I said, well, sure. Why wouldn't we want to have Buddhist meditation? Meditation is meditation. You can call it whatever you want. You can say, well, it's Hindu, or it's Buddhist, or it's Christian, or whatever. It's all meditation. And it's all a person going inside, developing their spirit, deepening their appreciation of themselves and the world. So of course we would, you know, ally with them and collaborate with them. So that's a big piece of what we do. And then we have special programs that we develop, like right now we have a program on aging as a spiritual practice. Mm-hmm. With so many people aging in our community, this has been a big draw, and people just keep coming and joining and saying, I know I'm getting older, I don't want to be in denial. How do I work with this? How do I make it an experience where I learn and I grow and I open more, rather than closing down and isolating?
Well, that's absolutely fascinating. And the number of programs that you offer and the diversity of the programs are really terrific. And we're going to come back and talk more with Carol Ludwig after this short break.
If you or someone you love is suffering from addiction to drugs or alcohol, National Rehab Recovery has an important message for you. Each year, we lose hundreds of thousands of our family members and loved ones to drug and alcohol-induced causes. If you have insurance or the ability to pay for 30 days of treatment, National Rehab Recovery can change your life. Medicare and Medicaid are not accepted at this time. The call and confidential consultation is free.
1-800-577-5446.
The Furniture Man is a locally owned business that has served the needs of the community of Vero Beach and Indian River County for over 30 years. Here at the Furniture Man, we offer fine pieces to furnish each and every room of your home. Specializing in Floridian style, come browse our selection of bedroom, dining room, patio, and living room. Come explore over 10,000 square feet of showroom, where you can find mattresses, recliners, sofas, dining, and more. Visit us at 673 US 1 in Vero Beach, Monday through Saturday, for all of your furniture needs.
Carol, you bring over 25 years of experience as a spiritual director to your work at the Center of Spiritual Care. Would you share with us your amazing, very interesting background and how you came to the position that you hold today?
Well, sometimes I ask myself that same question, and I wonder how this has all happened. But I think you know that I spent almost 30 years overseas as a diplomat, working in different countries and different cultures. And my last position overseas was as a cultural attaché in Rome. So culture has been a big part of what I bring. And I think it was John Kennedy who said that after all the wars and everything of history, what people will remember is the human spirit and what we have contributed to the human spirit through culture. Mm-hmm. And so I've always been very plugged in to the human spirit in other people and in myself. So when along the way, about halfway through my career, I went to the Shalem Institute in Washington, D.C., and I did a 2-year course in formation for spiritual guidance, which was wonderful. And then about 15 years later, I went to the Washington Theological Union, and I spent 3 semesters there working on different aspects of spirituality, prayer, meditation, walking with the dying, the history of spirituality, world spirituality, and just kind of deepening into all of that. So that when I retired from the Foreign Service, I was much more prepared than I ever imagined to take a totally different path. And so when I got to Vero Beach and this prospect of having the Center for Spiritual Care happened, I thought, well, there must be a reason why I had these little steps along the path. And about that same time, I was invited to join the board of directors of Spiritual Directors International, an organization of about 6,000 spiritual directors around the world. So I made trips for 6 years up to Seattle working with them and learning about programs like this all over the country and all over the world. So the Center for Spiritual Care is not a strange, isolated thing. There are places like this all over. And so I got to meet people who were operating those centers, working in those centers, developing programs in those centers, and just developed a level of confidence that we could have something like that here in Vero Beach too.
And you certainly have accomplished that.
Well, it's taken 15, 16 years, but I think we're getting there. Yeah.
You started out by saying that you were a diplomat for over 30 years throughout the world. Tell us about a few of those experiences.
Well, we worked, my husband and I, he was a diplomat too, and we worked in Japan a lot because we both spoke Japanese. So, of course, they keep bringing you back because they don't want to fund someone else's language training. We worked in the Philippines under Marcos, a time that was just fraught with all sorts of emotions and political situations. We worked in Mexico City at a time when the Mexican government was very much out of sync with the American government, and so there used to be rumors that we were going to invade Mexico. That's why we had all of our military bases in the south. We worked in Rome, which was quite amazing, but dealing with the paparazzi was always a handful. So
what a fascinating, wonderful life that you have led, and so we're all so grateful that you're sharing it with us, and we're going to talk more when we come back after this short break.
Arts in Depth is brought to you in part by Riverside Theater, Vero's professional theater at Riverside Park. Call the box office at 772-231-6990 or visit riversidetheater.com. The fun is happening at Vero Social Club on North US 1, where friends meet for bingo every Tuesday and Thursday. Doors open at 10, with luncheon served, and the games begin at noon. Then Vero Social Club opens up the dance floor Thursday nights for social dancing. And weekends, Vero Social Club heats up. Check the website for Latin Night special events. And each Sunday, dance to hip-hop all night long. Go to VeroSocialClub.com. Vero's #1 party destination. Vero Social Club, 7500 North US 1.
For more than 30 years, Bay Street Pharmacy has been your neighborhood pharmacy and one-stop healthcare center, offering prompt personal service, home delivery, and a dedicated staff that treats our customers like family with care and compassion. Bay Street Pharmacy, where caring people care for you.
Again, I'm with Carol Ludwig from the Center for Spiritual Care. Your website gives the backgrounds of over 20 instructors, and it's an impressive list to say the least. The professional backgrounds, the experiences, and focuses are deep and are varied. Please tell us about these professionals and their focuses.
Well, Barbara, we've really been blessed. Our board and our program facilitators are really highly qualified people with really solid credentials. And sometimes we've reached out for them, and sometimes they've just shown up. So I think of someone like Patricia Martin, who's working with our Aging as a Spiritual Practice program. Patricia's a retired marriage and family therapist, and she knows what she's doing just to a great depth. Alan Tager, who's an artist here, but who also has a doctorate in psychology, worked in free clinics and was a deputy chair of a psychology department up in Boston. Jim Pattison, who coordinates our Buddhist meditation programs, has a doctorate in Buddhist studies. Shatsi LaJoy, who's on our board, is an artist, but she also has degrees in counseling and teaches at the university. So the people who show up that work with us and teach with us know what they are doing, and they're very highly qualified. And so that if you come to a program or a workshop, you can rest assured that you're in the hands of a professional and someone who really knows how to work with people. And if that weren't the case, I wouldn't be working there, because I don't think this is such a sacred, intimate area of dealing with somebody's spirit that if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be there. So that's kind of the level of people who have shown up over the years. It goes on, and if you go to our website, www.centerforspiritualcare.org, you can see more on the people, but that's just the tip of the iceberg.
There were 13 pages on your website of instructors, and the qualifications and the experiences they've had, and amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing that you have attracted in this very small town such highly credentialed people.
Well, I think this town has attracted highly credentialed and very talented people, and as the chair of the Cultural Council, you know the kinds of people that are around town, and
Yes.
the center, I think, helps them find each other as well. So that's a huge gift to the community, I think.
It certainly is. Can you describe a few of the classes or the programs? And
Sure. Well, I'm just thinking now of Scott Kingsbury, who comes down on Thursdays. He drives down from Melbourne to see people. Scott not only is a fabulous massage therapist, reflexologist, he's the kind of guy who's always learning, and he teaches in massage programs around the state. I mean, they call him to come in and teach people how to do what he does. And he comes to the center and does it for people one-on-one. It's quite amazing.
it certainly is. And how can people find out about all the classes and workshops?
Well, I think the website probably is the best. We post a calendar there and a schedule, and if you go there, you can see what's going on. And we're always evolving and adding new things as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, you've really done such a great job, and it's such a wealth of resource for this community, and we thank you for that. And we'll be back in 1 minute.
Arts in Depth is brought to you in part by Riverside Theater, Vero's professional theater at Riverside Park. Call the box office at 772-231-6990 or visit riversidetheater.com.
And Carol, the center also relies on volunteers. What types of opportunities are available for volunteers?
Oh my goodness. Well, we've been talking, Barbara, as though this is something that I do, and I don't do that. And as we know, nobody really does anything alone. I mean, if wonderful people hadn't shown up over the years, the center wouldn't still be afloat. So that people who offer classes there, many of them just donate their time, and they say, you know, if people make donations for my class or have a tuition, that just goes to the center. I'm not interested in making money at this point in my life. I'm just happy to be able to contribute. So the facilitators, the teachers, we have a library, wonderful library, about little under 2,000 volumes on spirituality and spiritual development and personality types and prayer and meditation. We need volunteers to maintain that library. We need people to donate books in that field. We can always use support with program events. We have fundraisers and benefits, and you know how that is. You need lots and lots of people to put together something like that. We have now 2 wonderful volunteers who are maintaining our meditation garden, experts in tropical plants. They're probably not going to do that forever, so if there's any master gardener around who'd like to help us, that would be great too. We need help putting up art exhibits, and we need help welcoming people to the center for programs. So if you're someone who's volunteering or who's retired or has extra time, give us a call. We would love to talk with you. And I've had people call and say, tell me what to do, and I always say, no. You tell me what you like to do. And that's what I would like you to do, is because if you like to do it, you're going to do it well. So give us a call or shoot us an email. Our email is centerspiritualcare@gmail.com, and our website is centerforspiritualcare.org.
Okay, now tell us about membership.
Membership, we have a membership for an annual membership, and we ask that individual memberships donate $50 at least, and family memberships are $100. But we have different membership levels that go all the way up to, supporters, patrons, angels that go up into the thousands. We don't have a lot of those, and we could use more people who would come in and endow us, if you will, because all of this isn't free. It takes, we rent the building, we have utilities, we have our communications cost, all of these things. So it really, it takes about $50,000 a year to keep the center operating. And that doesn't come from our programs. It comes from donors and people who are willing to trust us and offer a tax-free donation to help keep the center doors open.
And it would be such a wonderful, calm place if you were a volunteer to come to. Very relaxing, very calm, and yet how much a volunteer could bring to the program
That's
as well.
true, too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You and I have had a conversation about art and medicine. Can you just spend a moment and talk about that?
Well, I think art and anything is wonderful. I mean, when I was at the Theological Union, they insisted that we all take art classes because they said everybody's creative and this is part of connecting with the Creator and co-creating the world. And I think it's true in medicine. If we can integrate the arts, music, movement, visual arts into healthcare, we will have a very, very different healthcare system.
And we're going to continue this conversation when we go into our last segment.
For more than 30 years, Bay Street Pharmacy has been your neighborhood pharmacy and one-stop healthcare center, offering prompt personal service, home delivery, and a dedicated staff that treats our customers like family with care and compassion. Bay Street Pharmacy, where caring people care for you.
Attention! This is an important message for anyone who had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to their heart or lungs. Did your IVC filter move, break, or cause organ damage? The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, or even death. Call Jacoby and Myers today. You may be entitled to compensation. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled.
Please call 800-378-0160.
Carol, we were just having a conversation about art and medicine, and I would like to continue that conversation for a little bit. I think that our viewers would be very interested in learning a little bit more about how important art is in medicine.
Well, yeah, the way I would phrase it, Barbara, is art in healthcare.
Okay.
Because, I don't know, medicine sounds like something you study at the university, and I think healthcare is part of what we do every day. How we care for ourselves, how we care for our families and for one another. So I spent about 5 years working with a group around Florida in major cities, Gainesville, Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, Melbourne, developing what we called a healthcare collaborative for spirituality in healthcare, and looking for ways that offering just some possibility of some kind of spirituality to the staff and to the patients could change everything. And we did that for about 5 years, and finally we stopped doing it because we figured we had integrated it so much into those healthcare systems that they were launched. And it would be wonderful if the same thing could happen with art. I mean, you know, you have wonderful programs in Gainesville at the hospital where you have art everywhere. I wonder, you know, if when you went for your annual checkup to your doctor's office, instead of charts of internal organs, you saw beautiful art. Wouldn't that change things?
Absolutely.
I mean, you know that music is so important in people's lives, and with people with dementia and people in hospice. And I think every one of the arts, any kind of movement, is so important for our bodies, for wellness, and for integrating the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical. So I think this is a tremendous initiative and a really important, maybe growing edge for all healthcare facilities.
And the Cultural Council is looking at maybe being a catalyst in bringing all of this together, because we have so much of that offered in Vero Beach.
Well, I think that's a great idea, because what we found was the most effective was working collaboratively with other people who shared an interest in this. And God knows you've got so many artists in the Cultural Council who have wonderful gifts they could offer to people.
That's
I mean,
right.
I'm thinking now particularly of one artist I know well who went and studied aromatherapy. And she integrated aromatherapy into her life, and she can bring that to people as well as her art. And it's just, there are so many ways to help people be well and to integrate. And we tend to compartmentalize our lives. You know, well, now I'm going to the doctor today, and tomorrow I'll be at my office, and then I'll be at home. All of these things wash one into the other. So to have a kind of a collaborative place where artists could meet healthcare people, and healthcare people could deepen their understanding of how the aesthetics in the art world could help heal their patients, I think that would be wonderful.
I think that's very exciting as well. It is so important, and we hope to do more with that in collaborating and going to you for advice and seeking the support of everybody. I believe in the collaborative
There are a lot of
efforts.
people around who can give advice. on
Yes,
that. Yeah.
I know. So anyway, thank you, Carol Ludwig, co-founder, spiritual director, and executive director of the Center for Spiritual Care, for talking with us today. And we want to thank you viewers for watching Arts in Depth, presented by the Cultural Council of Indian River County.
Arts in Depth is brought to you in part by Riverside Theater, Vero's professional theater at Riverside Park. Call the box office at 772-231-6990 or visit riversidetheater.com.
Have you or a loved one been prescribed the blood thinner medication Xarelto? Xarelto has been linked to serious injuries, including internal bleeding of the brain or gastrointestinal system, cerebral hemorrhage, and even death. At the law offices of Jacoby & Myers, we've been bringing compassion and experience to our clients for over 40 years. Jacoby & Myers is now taking claims from those injured as a result of taking Xarelto. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled.
Please call 800-536-6093.